my God, I'm loud. Hi everyone. So this is my speech, the zebra effect, or how to deal with chronic pain. Children are known to be little explorers, daredevils, and they don't know much about the notion of danger until they get hurt. Then they are aware of it, but that doesn't stop them from repeating the same mistake a few days later. As far as I can remember, I was always the child that could not do too much because she would hurt herself. I had to be careful because otherwise something bad would happen to me. And yeah, I was that child, and I was also the stigma that goes along with being that child. I have a quick question for you. When you were kids, what kind of toys would you get for Christmas or your birthday? Don't be shy, we Thomas. Bike, dolls. Yeah, the fun stuff. Well, I was getting that too, but I was also getting retractable crutches for children. I was getting canes, braces. I was getting a full-on armor. But that doesn't stop me from being active. Oh, no, okay. As far as I can remember, I've always been part of a sport or some art, as you can see. I've done some ballet, some hip-hop, jazz, badminton, basketball, figure skating, track and field, and so on. And although I was very active, it was rare that I was able to finish a sports season without any injuries. And that was very frustrating. And you know, our bodies are, they're smart, right? They have this intelligence that if you hurt something once, it's gonna have a fear to hurt it again. And it would send you signals. And my body sent me tons and tons of warning signals, and just ignore them. But when I became a teenager, there was a lot of daily pain, and my body was sore all the time, and my parents decided to take me to see some specialists who would say that it was just normal. My body was going through some changes, and yeah, they didn't try to dig further to know the underlying cause of this pain. And when I was 15, I got into a severe, like a major ATV accident that almost left me paralyzed. I was on a hunting trip with my dad, and we were both sitting on the ATV, and we were going up a hill, which was filled with rocks. And at some point, like, it was so slippery that the ATV went up, and I fell on my back, and somehow I flipped on my tummy, and both my dad and the ATV fell on my back. Yeah, not fun. I broke my 2 cheekbones, the bone here underneath your nose, type 3 lumbar sprain and neck sprain, and yeah, lots of fear and bruises. And that accident triggered something in me, a sleeping autoimmune disease. Did you know that 30% of autoimmune diseases are triggered by significant events, like stressful ones, such as childbirth, mourning, separation, accidents? So that accident awakened the rheumatoid arthritis in me, which led to know that I have Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome later on. So, whoops, I forgot that slide. Bah voilà. Rheumatoid arthritis, what was that? That's an old people condition, right? No, it's not. It is not. So it attacks the lining of the joints and ligaments and everything. So basically, your body thinks that something is attacking it. So it creates inflammation on the healthy tissues. So that's what arthritis is. How many of you here know what Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome is? Nobody. It was expected. Sorry, I take medicine that dries up my mouth. Voila. Excuse me. So, Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome, or EDS, is a group of inherited disease conditions that that attack the connective tissues. So what is a connective tissue? This is what supports basically your blood vessels, your internal organs, your ligaments, tendons, name it, it supports it, basically. And out of 13 different types of EDS, the most common one is the hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome, so HEDS. And its symptoms are fatigue, hypermobility in the joints, soft, velvety skin that bruises easily, as well as chronic pain in bones and muscles, and extreme tiredness. That's the type I have. And it's not easy. When you were kids, or when you were born, I don't know if you remember, but many babies and children are super flexible, right? And you lose that hypermobility as you go into adulthood. But there's still a 20% of the population that is still flexible. But how being bendy or double jointed or flexible, how can this be a bad thing? Like, especially if you're a gymnast or a dancer. It's not a bad thing at all. It's just when you are hypermobile and your joints are not secured in place, this is where everything starts. This is where it gets bad, because that can cause subluxations, dislocations, sprains, and everything else that goes with it. And also, the most important thing, it interferes with your daily life. And when I was diagnosed with EDS, that was during my second pregnancy, everything made sense when they explained to me that I had this. All the injuries that I had, everything that I went through as a child, I was like, okay, like all the puzzle pieces came along and I understood what it was. But that didn't stop the disease, right? That didn't stop the syndrome. And I'm still trying to navigate through this whole chronic pain journey, but basically, let's say one day I will wake up in somewhat good shape, like a good pain day as I call them. But at the end of the day, I would have to hold on to walls because the pain is just too strong. And it's not fun, but this is something that you have to accept. And part of my journey with chronic pain is to allow myself some time and space to heal properly. I have to accept that every day can and will be different. I also have to accept that I also have to accept that my body cannot perform as it used to be. My body has its own boundaries and limitations, and I have to respect that. And also I have to accept other people's help. And this is a big one that I have a hard time with, because I don't want to be seen as weak, or I don't want to be seen as the one that always asks for help. But it's not a sign of weakness to accept someone's help. It is not. And I don't know if you remember the title of my speech, The Zebra Effect. Where the zebra at? I forgot the injuries. Yeah, that's the viewer's discretion part. Well, so a few things here and there. That's over. Yes. This is not in the same year. Don't worry. It's over a few years. So the zebra. Why the zebra? Well, the zebra is the symbol and logo of EDS. And in medicine, the zebra is. They use that term in reference to rare diseases or conditions. And as it's written there, doctors are taught to assume the simplest explanation is usually the best. Because you don't want to misdiagnose a patient with a rare illness, right? So they're like, oh, you fit in those little boxes, so therefore this is what you have. That's their first step when they diagnose patients. And that was the first steps that the specialists that I saw when I was a teenager, that's what they did. But no, we're special. So therefore I'm a zebra. And maybe some of you here are zebras, and if so, wear your stripes proudly. And there's no cure, there's no nothing of that. But there is one thing that you have to do, in my opinion, and that's what I'm trying to do every day, is to reach out for support, to have a great group of friends, your family, a good support system, and online support groups. I discovered that this year, and let me tell you, it's fun because they talk, they will post pictures, and you're like, you can relate so much, and everything becomes so validating. You're like, okay, I'm not that crazy. But not when it comes to injuries. So I hope you enjoyed this little thing about EDS, and be curious, go out and look out for rare illnesses, because it doesn't seem like I have one, but I do. Merci.